it says they wanted to study goodness and the arising of good and that feeling that happens, the warming of the chest, the turning into a lump in the throat and the rising into tears in the eyes. And so they read people poetry hoping that might instigate that feeling of warmth, but it didn't. And so they danced in front of each other, and that kind of didn't work either. And suddenly a graduate student raced to the door and he said, I know, show them all Obama's acceptance speech at the Democratic Convention, and that should do it. So sure enough, they packed the room full of students and played them the Obama acceptance speech at the convention. And women who were lactating suddenly started to leak from the breasts. And that feeling of warming, rising, spreading, lumping, tearing began to happen, and people had electrodes on them so they could measure it. And sure enough, they decided and realized and understood in a scientific way, not that we all didn't know it anyway, but they understood it. We were not, it's some good thing to neuro happen, and that when people use words like, instead of strife, we are going to move towards harmony. Instead of war, we are going to move towards peace. Instead of hatred, we are going to love. And suddenly you shift. There's a cognitive shift, kind of moral, kind of physiology. And so the chemistry changes in the body, and a sense of happiness rises. And you want to do good. You want to do good. When you say we instead of I, there seems to be a shift actually in the cognitive processes of the neurological formatting of the entire structure of the brain, and the signals start to shift their relationship to one another, and that feeling of yes, we can rises, and that's what we were all wanting, and you get very, very high. And then you stand next to the people who you're sitting next to, and they hold your hand. And because they're holding your hand, you reach out for the hand of the person sitting on the other side of you. And you look around the theater and everyone is standing and holding hands and thinking, yes, instead of war, peace. Instead of strife, harmony. Instead of them, we. Instead of I, we. Instead of alone, us. Instead of isolation, connection. Instead of hate, love. And you're crying.